Humans of the cardboard. Ban list. Ban list. Ban list. This is insane. I wasn't even sure they were going to do anything ban list wise with this YCS. We thought it might have happened with the last YCS Vegas, and they didn't because they didn't even do a live stream. They do it, and it's massive. I've already seen some of those spoilers here, so sorry it's not like a true reaction, but I can't even find the ban list posted anywhere because it's still so fresh and everybody's still reacting to like the live stream VOD from it. So here we go. Let's jump into that. I even if we got a ban list, I wasn't even expecting to be nearly this big. Everybody I've talked to says, oh, Konami never likes to do big ban lists prior to Worlds because, like, you know, they want to go through Worlds and then they drop a big ban list to, you know, get us into a new format quickly. But this one's big. This one's huge. Let's get into it. Okay, so for the unlimits here, follow along, by the way, the best you can. If they did finally post it on, you know, the ban list, the Yu-Gi-Oh ban list, you know, official link, you know, go for it there. It might be on X or whatever. Do your best to find it, but otherwise just follow along here the best you can. I'm not going to be able to edit this video much, so here we go. For the unlimits, Cyberjar, who cares? Danger Tsuchinoko, who cares? Danger Jackalope, who cares? Ava, who cares? That card's actually a little scary, but the difference between 1 and 3 doesn't really matter that much to me. And Performapal Monkey Board, good card. Not great card. Again, probably 100% fine. Don't worry about that. Unlimits, totally cool with. I like that. Semi-limits, there's so many. The semi-limited section is so long. It is wild. So let's start at the top here. Oh, God. Okay. Black Dragon Collapser, but now all the way at the bottom, White Dragon Wyver Burster. This one's actually pretty interesting. I think Konami's kind of been a little displeased at how far Dragon Link fell off the map. Maybe these two coming back at 2 apiece, and then maybe even 3 apiece on the next ban list. Maybe that could usher in a new era of Dragon Link. You know, these are some of the most powerful extenders they have access to. So we'll see on that one. Huge stuff. X Ryziel. Ice Ryziel, Sword Ryziel, all to 2. Doesn't sound like huge hits, but at the end of the day, you're talking. Oh, sorry. Oh no, that is all. Okay, but you're talking 3 cards from the main deck that they lose, and so if you were on, you know, 3 Bonfire, 3 of the new card, what's it called, 7th Tachyon, do you have to play 7th Ascension now? You lose harder to Droll. You lose harder, you know, it's a searcher, but it's a worse search than the Bonfire because you have to go neg 1 to do it. That's actually not nothing. Is it are they huge hits? No, they're small, like, consistency hits, but I think it can add up over time. And do they make Ryziel just 5% worse, 5% less consistent? Are they bricking 5% more of the time? That actually can add up over a long, like a large quantity of duels and stuff. So that's pretty interesting. Next up here, you move to Malice hits. Same style here. You see Dormouse to 2, White Rabbit to 2, and Underground to 2. Same exact thing for them, really. Like very similar approaches to both of these decks. These decks, very good at what they do in very different ways, but they both have always had that little notch of like, but they're a little bit inconsistent at times, right? That's why people were so excited for 7 Tachyon. That's why it, you know, was a much anticipated card. And to a large degree, it has pushed Ryziel in as the big favorite. But now it's at the same deal of like, it's very strong when it opens really good hands, but it can brick. And now it can brick a little bit harder because now you only have 3 copies, or well, you lose 3 copies from your main deck that you have to replace with something else that's probably just, even if it is still a somewhat consistency card, it's probably just a worse version of the cards you were playing before. So same thing. If the deck got 5%, 7% less consistent, that adds up over a larger sample size of duels. So that's really cool. What else do we have here? Morphing Jar. Who cares, dude? Who cares? Snake Eye Ash and Snake Eye Poplar is funny. Yeah, I totally was under the mindset of like, if they were to ban original, everything else for Snake Eye can be legal. I do not care. If original's gone, it's not bridging them to really strong level, like any level 1 fire in the game, then they can totally have Ash and Poplar back. I expect them to go to 3 on the next, but that's cool. Maybe that engine actually is something to pair with other stuff going forward. We'll see. And lastly, from this section, Unchained Soul of Shavara. That's actually really nice for pure Unchained. I like that a lot for them. Most of the other just general Fiend decks that would play it just as a, the supporting Fiend ender where you could just make the Link 2 and then get Shavara and set up the 2 pops or whatever, or the 2 interruptions was nice, but it wasn't like crazy and you never played more than one. This really just helps pure Unchained, it feels like. And it feels like Unchained is not nearly strong enough to have to worry about Shavara at less than 3. So hopefully he goes to 3 on the next one, but this is a good step, and that's really nice to see for them. Next up, limits. Big section as well, okay? First off, so we already, okay, well, yeah, limits. Bestial Druis Worm and Dimension Shifter here, going to 1. These are 2 different hits for Malice. Basically, they have other applications, totally. It's not just Malice, but that's like maybe the main concern is like some of the other degenerate things Malice could take advantage of, like just being able to drop a shifter is quite brutal. But yeah, this is huge. People have been asking for Shifter to go away for a long time. And I actually kind of like Shifter at 1. I know it feels super sacky, but it's like, it still puts people in this dilemma of like, even if you have a deck that doesn't mind like mostly about its graveyard, a deck like Exosister, for example, with Shifter at 1, there's an argument that you say, man, there are small drawbacks of using Shifter. Is it really worth building my deck to be a Shifter deck when there's only 1 copy for a sacky 1 of? Or should I just actually get rid of Shifter out of the deck entirely and start playing it just, just making good on the small bonuses my deck gets not under Shifter? There's an argument for that. So I think it's fine. You'll see some sacky Shifters. You'll be very, very sour the few times you do get hit with it. But luckily, it won't be that often anymore. So that's good. And Druis Worm, Magnamoot at 1. Druis Worm's the next best one. Bestials in general are so strong. They're already like, what, 85, 90% of what DD Crow ever is anyway. And then on top of that, they gave you 2,500 bodies that also gave you bonuses. Magnamoot and Druis Worm giving you the best bonuses. I would not be surprised at all if we see Magnamoot or Baldrake go to 1 on the next ban list or something if Mouse is still really good and still jamming a lot of Bestials, but we'll see. Ryziel, Detonator, and Bonfire also going to 1 here. So we see not only that those 3 main deck slots you lose for both Ryziel and Malice in terms of consistency, but you lose 2 more copies for Ryziel with a Bonfire going to 1, which I love. I love the idea that Konami could maybe even go down the path of making a legit good Rhoda type card for every type in the game, but if they set the standard of, we're going to put every single one of them to 1, then every single deck gets 1 good Rhoda, and that's it. I think that's totally fine. It's not going to affect deck building too much, but it's interesting. It's an interesting take for them to lean into. But Detonator going to 1 is so crazy, man. I mean, listen, they still have twins, so when they can do lines where they get twins put on Detonator, it's still kind of scary. But man, there's 1 Detonator now. When you out that first Detonator and clear him for good, you may not have to deal with him again in a lot of duels. And they have ways where even if you out the first Detonator, but it goes to grave, or you send it back to extra deck, it's still there. And but even if you send it to grave, they can still potentially use like a duo drive to re-equip the twins, send it to then get twins back the Detonator and everything, and still reset it up over and again. And you also have the field spell, which can set it up, or even plug in. So there are ways for them to access it, but in a lot of cases, I do feel like this is probably right overall. This card technically is more interactive than something like Kashtira or Riseheart, but is it really? If it's 3+ pops, it really is kind of like Floodgate-ish at the end of the day. It's like Appaloosa. We're like, yes, it's just a negate. It's not a Floodgate, but when it's like negate, it starts to have the same payoff as a Floodgate at the end of the day. So I'm okay with this going to 1. It makes them much more fragile, where they can't just go into a second Detonator super easily in a lot of cases, and I like it. I like it a lot. Some of these other ban lists, as far as more relevant stuff, Crossout and Triple Tactics Talents going to 1. This one seems like a huge win for players. I've seen so many players saying Crossout is dumb, Talents is dumb. When you get Talents, when you're going second, it feels terrible. So with it being at 1, hopefully this happens so much less often. This is a big one. I'm actually quite excited at these being at 1. I like this a lot. You can play one cross out. You can play one called by for like the broken, and even one talents for like the kind of broken go first, punish your opponent when they hand trap you type cards. But overall, you can't play 7 copies of those now. So goes down to 3. That's a huge win. And lastly, for some interesting ones, Masterpiece. I think this is fine until Dragonic Diagram comes back and maybe even support comes out for True Draco. I'm not really that worried about them, so that's not a huge deal to me. Circular. Whoa. Circular to 1 is spicy. Now, it's possible that those types of cyber stacks just don't hold up anymore. I'm curious. I don't think Circular really works too well with Malice. So I'm hoping that's not a thing, that like them hitting Malice as much as they did and then bringing back Circular, that they don't combine to do anything stupid. I hope that's not the case. And it's probably true that just Mathmech in general is just not strong enough to hold up, because we were doing that over a year ago, it feels like, and you know what I mean? It's just we've power crept so much since then, so it's hard to rely on that. But yeah. And lastly, Brilliant Fusion. Love this. I really wanted to make sure Brilliant Fusion came back, because now Gem Knights are that much more interesting. And they didn't even unlimit Block Dragon, which I'm okay with, because I don't even think the deck needs Block Dragon. But yeah, that's a scary, scary card. Huge limits. And then lastly here, we get to the Forbidden List. Big ones here too. Nightmare Griffin. Another hit to Malice. I don't think this one's like super, super crucial to Malice, but what it does, it takes away, like, again, with Shifter going to 1, it takes away just like the dumbest thing they did, which is set up like dumb Griffin lines where you were just like, I can't play. I'm under skill drain basically. So love it. If for a generic link forward to have a floodgate effect like that, decks that could facilitate it in a clean way, and even stuff with like a Bawaku coming out, making it even more broken, of like setting it up and having a way to like reset it up even if you out it. Again, just super annoying. Don't want to have to deal with that. So love that. Link Decoder. This was not one I was thinking would come, but because of how generic it is and because of how just like free it is for cyber stacks, I actually kind of like this one. I kind of like Decoder going to 1 here. And I think this may be the difference between Circular being too good or not, because Decoder like was kind of the way that Circular was, from what I remember. And I it's been a while, but I remember that deck needing Decoder to get to the Link 5 lines. And now I'm not sure they do. So without it. So cool. I like that. It's just such a free card. Another hit to Malice, by the way. Abyss Dweller. I'm not going to say for sure, because I've been playing Crystron for a while. We may not have to main Droplet going forward. Dweller's gone. Griffin's gone. Detonator's at 1. So it's still nice for the 1 detonator, but like, if you can still out the first one, like, you may not have to deal with it again. Yeah, pretty good stuff. Love this. This is just a card where, like, if it's not relevant, you in a format, but it's legal, you look at it and go, that fucking card, man. And then when it is good, you're like, that fucking card. This card sucks. When this card is good, it sucks when you play against it. So yeah, Dweller's definitely the kind of card needs to go. And then Bahamut Shark, man, that's brutal. So listen, Konami doesn't want to hit Toad directly because so many people love Toad. Bahamut's insane, cheating out Toad and other stuff, but man, this has some drawbacks for sure. This is the only real hit from this ban list that actually hits Mermail. But I'll tell you what, it does hurt them. A lot of people had said, okay, you can have the Degenerate Hand Rips with Moonling Glacier. You can set up Barrier Statue. You can go into, what's the other? Like Coelacanth was the other card I had made note of in my notes, of just like how crazy that card is. They could just ban it because it is a little bit reminiscent of like a bricky main deck version of, is it Galaxy Tomahawk? Something like that just puts so many bodies on the field. Whatever. Everybody had said, though, even aside from all of those things that deck can do, if you take away Bahamut and now Dweller, What do they do with the bodies they get off of Coelacanth? What do they do aside from hand ripping you for 2? You look down and you're like, what do they make? Like a pop, maybe a mandatory spell negate with the equip, and like that's it. It's a lot worse. So this makes that deck a lot less scary. This being the final hit, by the way, is toxic as hell. That like everybody's probably so nervous that like, oh my god, Mermail's about to run the game for the next 3 months, and then this is the last card, and they're like, okay, cool. Now their end board is like, what do they do? I think they'll find other stuff that's fine, and I think the deck will still be fine. You lost nothing in the main deck. You just lost some of your end board payoff tools. In fact, your best end board payoff tools, but you can still, like I said, rip 2 or 3. You can still end on the barrier statue. You can still make the link 3 that gives you an equip that's going to be a negate. You can still end on the link to Mermail that pitches Marksman to pop a card. Like, you can still end on like enough under the, guise of we're hand ripping 2 or 3 to be good, but like, it's a lot less scary. You can win some of those duels now, even when you do get ripped for 2 or 3. So I love it. I love it. Spanless is crazy, man. The Spanless is absolutely crazy. I am so curious now because we're just going to be under this weird mix of like in the next month, in less than a month, we are going to get the new support for Malice and for Ryziel that should make them, would have made them even better already being the best decks in the game. And now we're like, well, how much are they weakened before getting that stuff now? And it makes for a very, very interesting game going forward. We're going to have 3 or so weeks prior to the new set of figuring out how good these decks are post these hits and what the format looks like then. And then we're going to have to very quickly find out how good these decks are with the new support that's going to come from those. And that makes for a very, very interesting time. So love this ban list. We got some cool stuff off. We got a lot of good stuff on. And I feel like there's very little you can complain about. I'm sure there can be some things you can complain about, but this is about as close to a great ban list as you can ask for. Everybody kind of assumed this would be small, and they went way bigger and gave us way more and exactly what we were asking for in a lot of ways. So let me know your thoughts down below. I know this video's kind of been long-winded, but I wanted to give my overall thoughts on everything because this is so huge and there was a lot to cover here. But yeah, I'm out of here for today. Thank you so much for watching as always, guys. Let me know your thoughts down below in the comment section. And sick ban list. I'm stoked. Let's get to it.